Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Let's Talk About Debt Solutions England and Wales, which we're running as part of the Talk Money Week webinar series. Before we get into the presentation, I just want to quickly explain a little bit about the charity for those of you who may not be familiar with us. So our vision is to be a supportive community where every civil servant or former civil servant has the chance to live their life to the full. We offer a range of services and support online and offline, both from ourselves and in partnership with a range of other specialist organisations. It's important to say that each service is dependent on your situation and eligibility, and we often check this either through your national insurance number or through your wage slip. If you're not sure if you're eligible or whether we can help, really the best thing to do is to contact us and ask. We know life isn't black and white, and neither is our offer of help, and we look at everyone on a case-by-case basis. So who can we help? Essentially, all civil servants, current, former or retired, and their dependents can seek the charity's help at any time. Even if someone leaves the civil service, they are still eligible to come to us for help. And by dependents, we mean people who are financially dependent on you. And although the charity is funded by civil servants, you do not need to have donated in the past to apply for help. We're not a membership organisation, and just by being or having been a civil servant, you are eligible to apply. So I'm now going to hand over to Joe, who's going to be talking about Debt Solutions England and Wales. If you do have any questions, if you can pop them in the Q&A and we'll endeavour to answer them at the end of the session. If you want to ask questions anonymously, you are able to do that. So I'll hand over to Joe. Thanks, Joe.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jane. Thanks for joining our webinar this morning. So this morning, that's it. This morning, we're going to be looking at debt options. So we'll look at types of borrowing, types of debt options. We'll have time for questions, and then we'll pass you back to Jane, who will be able to explain how we can help at the charity. So most of us will use credit at some time. Might be to finance a house or a car. We'll use loans or credit cards for special purchases or everyday items. The credit we take on is linked to affordability, and repayments are built into our budget. So repaying's not an issue, but circumstances can change. A drop in income, a relationship breakdown, and suddenly that manageable credit can become unmanageable debt. So today we're looking at what we can do if we're struggling to meet our credit commitments. The key message for today is debt can happen to anyone, so don't panic. There are options to suit all circumstances. The most important thing is to engage with your creditors or money advice specialist who can help before things get out of control. So let's just have a quick review of types of borrowing. So we have secured debt. This is underpinned by an asset, so these are things like mortgages or car financing. The asset is at risk if payments are not kept up. This type of debt won't usually be included in the options we're discussing today. So if you have this type of debt and you want to speak to somebody about it, make an application to speak to one of our money advisors. Then we have unsecured debt. So this is all your personal consumer credit debt and any other type of debt that's not secured by an asset. This includes debt owed to a lender once an asset has been repossessed. So this type of debt can usually be included in the options we're discussing today. We divide debt into two types. So we have priority and non-priority debt. A debt is a priority if non-payment could lead to serious consequences. So we're talking about the loss of the home, the loss of other goods, disconnection of essential services, or even in some cases, imprisonment. So these debts include things such as rent or mortgage arrears, council tax arrears, fuel arrears, or unpaid magistrates' court fines. If you owe any of these types of debt, it is important to deal with them first. Non-priority debts, on the other hand, are still important, but the consequences for non-payment are dependent on your financial circumstances. So non-priority debt includes all the debts we mentioned before, your consumer credit and other debts that are not linked to an asset. Okay, so when we're thinking about debt options, we always need to think about what solution will work for you. We need to look at your financial circumstances, and we need to understand if you need a formal or informal solution, or short-term or long-term solutions. So debt options are always personal. So today we intend to give you an overview of what's available, but you will need to speak to a money advisor to understand what option is suitable to your circumstances. So your financial circumstances will be the key to understanding what's right for you. A financial statement will help you set out your normal household expenditure and identify any surplus income available to pay debts. So based on the outcome of a financial statement, you can then look at the options and understand what works for you. The options available could be informal. So these are the flexible, non-legally binding options. They could be formal. These are the options that are backed by law. They might be short-term in circumstances where you just need a bit of time and space to get things sorted. Or they might be long-term when you have unmanageable debt and you do need a permanent solution. It's important to remember that some debts are always excluded from all debt options, and these are things like court fines, child maintenance arrears, and student loans. We also won't be looking at business debt in today's session, so you can speak to us or contact the business debt line if you'd like to discuss business debt. So let's look at our first options. We'll look at the informal short-term options. So these are a range of non-binding relief options. So you have things like creditor forbearance. Most creditors will have a package of options that they're able to offer customers who are in difficulty. So these might be things like a pause in payments, temporary reduction in payments, or an extension of the payment term. You could also consider something like a pro rata payment. So this is where you take your surplus income and you divide it between your creditors, giving the largest amount to the biggest debt and the smallest amount to the smallest debt. Or if you really don't have any money at all, you can do something that we call a token offer. That is, you give a symbolic amount, such as £1 per month, just to reassure your creditor while you're waiting for your change in circumstances. So these informal short-term options might be suitable for you if you just need a bit of time and space to get things sorted. You don't have any priority debts, or you can manage your priority debts separately from the non-priority debts. You've got a few debts or a few creditors. You're comfortable speaking to your creditors. And ideally, you've got some pending future change that might mean an increase in income or a decrease in circumstances that means you're going to be able to get back on track with payments in a few months' time. The advantages of using the informal short-term options: you're engaging with your creditor, so they're less likely to start with automatic recovery processes. You will get some temporary relief, and your creditor may even be willing to pause interest and charges. The disadvantages is they're not long-term. Your creditor's not obliged to pause interest and charges. It could impact your credit score and future borrowing, and they're not legally binding. But if you'd like to know more about informal short-term options that your creditors can offer, contact your creditor directly. It's always worth asking for a pause in interest and charges, and you should prepare a financial statement before speaking to them. That way they can clearly understand your situation. You can find some tools on our website to help you prepare a financial statement, or you can make an application to speak to one of our money advisors and we'll help you prepare. So now we're going to look at an informal long-term option. We have one available, and that's a debt management plan, or a DMP. So this is a pro rata payment plan based on your surplus income. It's negotiated and managed for you by a third party. So a DMP might be suitable for you if you've got unmanageable debt and you need a permanent solution. You've got sufficient surplus income to make monthly payments, and you don't have any priority debts, or you can manage your priority debts outside of the DMP. The advantages of a DMP: it's negotiated for you and managed by a third party, so you'll make one single payment to that third party, and that will take care of all your non-priority debts in the plan. Interest and charges are likely to stop, and DMPs are available for free. The disadvantages of a DMP: it could take a long time to clear your debts, up to 10 years, depending on how much you owe. Your creditors are not obliged to pause interest and charges, and it will impact your credit score and future borrowing. It's also not legally binding. If you'd like to know more about DMPs, you can contact an organisation offering free DMPs. You can check our website for more information, or you can contact us and we can signpost you to the organisations. Let's have a look now at our formal options. So these are our legally binding options, and we're going to have a look at the only formal short-term option that we have, and this is the debt respite scheme, also known as breathing space. So this is a government-backed scheme that gives you 60 days breathing space to give you time to seek debt advice. There's a standard breathing space option and a mental health breathing space option. So breathing space might be suitable for you if you're unable to meet some or all of your debt obligations. You just need some space and time to work out your next steps. You don't have any formal debt options in place, and you've not had a breathing space in the last 12 months. The advantages of breathing space is you will get temporary relief from creditor action. It is legally binding, so your creditors can't add interest and charges or can't take any recovery action during that 60-day period. If you qualify for a mental health breathing space, the protection could last longer. The disadvantage of breathing space: it's not a long-term solution. It may impact your credit score and future borrowing, and it's only available once in a 12-month period. If you'd like to know more about breathing space, you can make an application to speak to one of our money advisors, or you can talk to another free debt advice agency. Let's move on now to look at our formal long-term options. So the first one we'll look at is a debt relief order, or DRO. So this is an insolvency option that will write off eligible debts. It's obtained through a debt relief intermediary. A DRO could be suitable for you if you're unable to pay your debts, you've got a maximum of £50,000 worth of debt, you're not a homeowner, you don't own any valuable assets, and you don't have a valuable car or other vehicle. You also don't have any or don't have much surplus income at the end of the month. The advantages of a debt relief order: there are no costs, there are no monthly payments, the protection from creditor action begins immediately, and all the eligible debts in the debt relief order will be written off at the end of a 12-month period. The disadvantages of a debt relief order is there is a strict eligibility criteria, so you can't be a homeowner, you can't own a high value vehicle, or you can't own valuable assets. It will impact your credit score and future borrowing, and it is registered to the insolvency register. So if you'd like to know more about debt relief orders, you can apply to speak to one of our money advisors, or you can speak to another charity offering free money advice. Our next formal long-term solution is bankruptcy. Again, this is an insolvency option that will write off all your eligible debts. So bankruptcy might be suitable for you if you can't pay your debts, you have assets worth less than your debts. The advantages of bankruptcy are it is legally binding. You will get immediate relief from creditor action. And if regular payments are needed, they'll usually be for less than the total amount that you owe. The disadvantages of bankruptcy, any assets that you do have will be sold, and that includes the family home. If you are asked to make ongoing payments, they could last up to 3 years. It will impact your credit score and future borrowing. It is registered to the insolvency register, and there is a £680 fee, although this is something the charity could help with if appropriate. If you'd like to know more about bankruptcy, you can make an application to speak to us. You can also apply for bankruptcy online yourself by going onto the government website. It's also important to know that a creditor who is owed more than £5,000 could make you bankrupt as well. So the final long-term option is an individual voluntary arrangement, or an IVA. So this is a legal arrangement to pay your debts, repay your debts, and it's arranged by an insolvency practitioner. It might be suitable for you if you do need a permanent solution to your debts, you're not eligible for a debt relief order, and bankruptcy is not appropriate because of your assets. You have sufficient surplus income to make monthly payments. The advantages of an IVA is it is legally binding, so you will get relief from creditor action. It's usually for a fixed period of 5 years. Any remaining debt at the end of that period will be written off. The disadvantages of an IVA are that there are high fees included in the payments. If the IVA fails, it will become payable in full and it could lead to bankruptcy. It will impact your credit score and future borrowing, and it will be registered to the insolvency register. If you'd like to know more about IVA, you can speak to one of our money advisors, or you can speak to a debt advice agency that offers IVAs. So we hope that you found today's overview useful. Just a note to remember that debt options are personal, so please do make an application to speak to one of our money advisors if you'd like to know more. We'll be able to discuss your circumstances with you and set out what options are right for your circumstances. So, any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Jo. Yeah, we have had a few questions coming in. The first one is, will all creditors accept a token offer of payment?
They should do. Creditors do have an obligation to listen to you, understand your circumstances, and work with you to find the best outcome. So it's not always easy to get them to go into depth with you straight away, but if you've prepared a statement, you've explained your circumstances to them, you can show them that there is something happening down the line that means you will be able to get back on track. There isn't any reason why they shouldn't accept a token payment.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, can the charity help with breathing space?
Absolutely, we can help with breathing space. So if you've been thinking about it might be something that's right for you, make an application and we'll be able to advise.
Okay. And what type of mental health condition would somebody need to qualify for a mental health crisis breathing space?
So you actually need to be receiving mental health crisis treatment. So you would be in treatment, you would have your mental health practitioners working with you, and it would be a special agency that would take care of that mental health breathing space for you.
Okay. Another question is, are the charity able to put me into debt relief? I assume that's probably debt relief order.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
charity help with, yeah.
We do have debt relief order intermediaries. So again, make an application to speak to one of our money advisors. We'll help you work out if that's the option for you. And if it is, we will help you do the debt relief order.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Another question is, I work for HMRC and I've been told I can't do bankruptcy as I would be sacked. Is that true? And there's a very similar question of somebody asking if they work for HMRC, would it affect employment?
So insolvency may affect certain job types. So just because you work for HMRC, it doesn't mean to say that insolvency will affect your role. So it will depend on your role. The best thing to do is speak to your HR department or have a look at your work contract and then come and speak to us. So speak to them first, get it clear to understand if insolvency will have an impact. And then come to us. Generally speaking, it's going to be jobs where you're dealing with money or you're, legal. So it's not all roles.
Okay. So best thing to do is to speak to a money advisor, maybe to, clarify it. And the final question is, I've been in an IVA for 2 years, but I've been reading that a DRO would have been better. Or what should I do? Yeah.
So if you're struggling with your IVA, if it's not the right option for you, it could be possible to change to a DRO if that's more suitable. So again, the best thing to do is make an application to speak to one of our money advisors. We'll look at the circumstances, we'll go over everything, and we'll advise you if you could, and if debt relief order was a better option for you.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. That is the last of the questions. And just before we finish up, as Joe's mentioned, the charity does have its own money advice and guidance service. So we can offer free, impartial, independent money advice if you are struggling with unmanageable debt. We've got a team of experienced qualified advisors. We're all members of the Institute of Money Advisors or Money Advice Scotland as well. We're regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. So we're based in all regions, including Northern Ireland and Scotland, where the legislation differs slightly, which means we are able to provide country-specific debt advice. So whether you just need help setting up a budget or you're really struggling with multiple debts, we can help. We can advise on dealing with priority debts, including advice on court action, as well as budgeting and managing money and setting up informal reduced payment plans. We can also advise on the legal options for dealing with debts, such as the options Joe's talked about: debt relief orders, individual voluntary arrangements, bankruptcy. And there is a session going on later on in Scotland, but we also advise on trust deeds and debt arrangement schemes. You will find a lot more information on our website, including details of how to apply. So you apply via our portal and you would tick speak to a money advisor. We know that money worries can be a real major source of stress and anxiety, and we know that it can be very difficult to talk about money, but help is available. And generally, the earlier you seek help, the more we can assist you. So if you are struggling, please do get in touch. And we also have a range of tools on our website to help you manage your money. So there's a money advice toolkit with lots of useful calculators like budget calculators, saving calculators. We've got a benefit calculator, which might mean you can check whether you're entitled to any benefits. And also you can access webinars through the website as well. In terms of Talk Money Week, we have a range of webinars coming up this week. You can register again on our website. If you go to the help and advice section at the top of the website and then click on webinars, that's where you can register. You can also access that page via the QR code. and you will also be able to access recordings of the webinars that we're running this week, all except for the gambling harm webinar, which is not going to be recorded. That's actually due to be this afternoon between 3 and 5. Thank you very much for listening and joining us today. If you do want any further information on the charity, you can take a look at the website, which is cfcs.org.uk, or use the QR code and find a lot more information about the services we run, how we can help you, and also lots of resources, both for money and for caring and well-being. So hopefully we will see you at one of our other Talk Money webinars. Meanwhile, just thank you for joining us.
Thank you.